You have been a bee and trying to figure out where is the taste, and you were jumping all around a flower. But now you come to relax yourself and realize the nectar was everywhere. We were simply jumping and we were unable to take it. So you sit down with this revelation and start sucking the nectar. That's called meditation. Now when you are relaxed and you are sucking the nectar, inner joy, the moment your mind becomes concentrated and enter in meditation, a unique type of a peace begins to develop within you. So your mind has become like a bee and it has started sucking the nectar. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa-Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, and bestower of immortality. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 6, known as Adhyatma Yoga, more precisely, Yoga of Meditation. And presently, verse number 10. Yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasi sthita ekaki yat chittatma nirashira parigraha. Profound insight is being given into the path of practicing meditation. 4 distinct paths are there for an aspirant. How to do your duties, how to be involved in the world of action. That's the foundation. It's known as Karma Yoga. And all your advancement, progress is tested by practical life. How are you handling your responsibilities, dealing with people around you? If you have planted a tree, the best test comes when you discover that it's able to blossom and waft fragrance. Otherwise, it has been a pain. So, the meaning of the verse is, a yogi should, let me conclude first there, Karma Yoga is path of action, yoga of action. Bhakti Yoga, yoga of devotion. How to deal with the world of sentiments, love. The world of love. You can't live without a sense of love in different forms. How to deal with it. It's a very subtle world. And that is part of Bhakti Yoga. And then will aspect of your personality. How to determine your role, what you need to do. How can you stay with your resolution? How can you be persistent and tenacious? All that requires that's the backbone of your spiritual movement. And that's the topic in the present section, the path of dhyana, meditation. And that's the topic well developed in Raja Yoga Sutras of Patanjali Maharshi. And the last one is your intellect, your understanding. What should be the culmination, the consummating aspect of your understanding? That's Jnana Yoga. And it points to Aham Brahmasmi, I am that am I am alone exists. All these four are inseparable. While describing yoga, all these four are described as if they are separate subjects. But not for a moment are they separate from each other. Just like your personality cannot be entirely dependent only on the feet or on the hands, only on your heart, I'm talking physical, and only on your head. All have to be together. So keeping that in view, and I'm entering into now that specialized aspect of allowing your mind to develop resolute will, and that's practice of dhyana, meditation. Yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasya sthita ekakiyyat chittatma nirashira parigraha. Yogi should constantly fix his mind on the divine self. That's the project for a yogi. Yogi here is that special aspect, one who is pursuing the path of meditation. The very commencement, the instruction is you practice meditation so that your mind can be focused on God. Otherwise, you have been practicing meditation in different degrees through all your embodiments. Meditation implying you have been focused. People pursuing objects of their desire or gripped by anger and hate. When you take up a project of revenge and similar activity, you require a lot of concentration. Thieves, robbers, all criminal-minded people require a lot of concentration. Do not develop the idea that just practicing concentration that's what you need to do. No. Concentration or meditation has to be practiced on the divine self, God. Otherwise, you will be misusing the power that you will gain by your concentration. And that's why humanity suffers from. People who have developed intense hate, and they have gained tremendous concentration. And that puts the world into a state of bitterness, chaos. So, yogi should constantly fix his mind on the divine self. God is your object of mental focus. He is the target. Next point, he should abide in solitude. Now, coming to very practical discipline, You need to allow your mind to taste a different type of joy. Allow your mind to have a space where you can adopt a project. Create solitude. Again, if you may say, oh, I have to go to a forest. No. When I have the possibility, I will find a place where in the Himalayas and will practice. We'll just be in solitude. The fact it will be with the monkeys. But I'm leading you to understand that no matter where you are placed, you can create solitude for yourself. Have a puja room, have a time set, and you enter into that room and let people know that you are doing meditation. You want to be still more secure. You don't have to tell anybody. Choose a time when all are completely immersed. The time for meditation, Brahma Muhurta, time period between 4 to 6 in the early morning. So if you have chosen that type of time, now you have solitude, very easy. Keep his mind and body under his control. Body and mind both are to be disciplined. Therefore, Raja Yoga has a branch, Hatha Yoga. Hatha Yoga deals with your asanas, pranayams, all are designed to give you stability in the body. Various meditative poses can be practiced. You adopt one that's comfortable for you and try to maintain that pose for certain duration. The definition of asana jaya, victory over an asana, implying if you have perfected an asana, you can stay in that pose for 3 hours at a stretch as if nothing has happened. But that's the ideal. But never push yourself to that ideal. Because simply staying in one pose is not your goal. However, by daily practice, when you sit for meditation, your mind will not be focused on your body. But if you did not have that skill, or if you do not have experience of practicing asanas, your mind will be constantly involved with body, aches and pains, mosquitoes, and many things. If you have rendered the body still, now it's very easy. Your mind to be directed towards what you have chosen as the object of your meditation. Object of meditation can be of different types. Most ideal for beginner that you should have Ishta mantra initiated into a mantra, and accordingly there is a deity like Ganesha, Saraswati, Shiva, Rama, Krishna, Buddha, Jesus, whomsoever you have chosen. Keep the picture of that deity in front of you burn a candle and some incense and create a sacred, atmosphere of sacredness, sanctity. And with the help of mala, you japa of the divine name. And this will lead you to meditation. If you have already practiced this for a while, then you can simply enter into meditation immediately. Otherwise, if your mind is wandering, take recourse to japa. If your mind continues to wander, japa is same as meditation. And you continue to do japa. Reciting mantra is like taking a mystic medicine. Sometimes you take medicine lovingly, sometimes you just throw it in your mouth. Divine name or mantra, in all cases, have their effect on you. So mantra japa goes on preparing your mind. But coming to the state when you are ready to practice meditation, keep the body and mind under your control. And that practice has two stages. During the time when you are practicing meditation, you have a special focus on keeping the body steady and keeping the mind focused. But during your daily life, control of mind and body must be your priority. Control means utilizing your body and mind in a right way. Consider the whole personality set like a chariot. A chariot with horses. Senses are your horses. Mind is the reins by which you are manipulating the horses. And intellect is driving. And jiva, the individual soul, is being led. But unfortunately, on the jiva's neck there is a monkey. Ego. So instead of being ruled by the monkey, by your uncontrolled mind, you should be led by intellect. The chariot driver, but be sure he is not drunk. And renounce desires and cravings for possessions. The more you are aware of your desires bring vikshepa to your mind, distractions. You are seated in meditation, but your mind is planning. When I finish meditation, I'm going to have a nice cup of tea. I will be doing a whole list. It's coming up in your head. So renounce all that. Train yourself to command your mind. Tell your mind what happens during sleep. You don't think of anything. Consider that state. Right now, nothing. The whole world moves away. And this is my goal. Here is Rama, here is Krishna. Another part of your mind will whisper, reminding you of so many things. Again and again you have to prepare your mind with that insight that the more you are relaxed, the more you are surrendered to God within you, all things that you need will be taken care of in a more miraculous way than you can imagine. So therefore, allow that type of experience. Renounce desires and cravings for possessions. If you are practicing your meditation in a room where you have your costly things all placed in a box, then your mind has two aspects. You are meditating, but at the same time, nobody should steal the costly things you have nearby. I'm just trying to dramatize, but the idea is, if your mind is thinking about your possessions can be many things, then you are not practicing meditation. So therefore, keep your puja room as simplified as possible, not too crowded with so many things that you are more involved with protecting the costly paintings or costly pictures than you are practicing meditation. Continuing this insight into practice of meditation, 11th and 12th verses of 6th chapter. शुचौ देशे प्रतिष्ठाप्य स्थिरमासनमात्मनः ज्ञात्युच्छ्रितं नातिनीचं चैलाजिनकुशोत्तरम् तत्रैकाग्र्य मनः कृत्वा यत् चित्तेन्द्रियक्रियः उपविश्यासने युञ्ज्यात् योगम् आत्मविशुद्धये. In a clean spot is a very practical point, because these sages are very clear and precise in their instructions. In a clean spot, clean term you must realize must be used with all the scientific details. You shouldn't have disease, bacteria and germs, which is neither too low. If you are doing it in a low level, all the bacteria gravitate to low, the humidity and worms and all little creatures. Neither too low nor high. Especially if you are in the mountain area and sit on a higher level, things look so wonderful. You sit yourself meditating. Hardly you meditate, you dozed. And you fall. You injure yourself. I can't go and stay anywhere. So therefore, avoid all these limitations. Should be just a level floor. And one should spread kusha grass, a deer skin and a cloth. That's old style. In ancient time, that was perfectly practical. According to Ayurveda, kusha grass has certain herbal effect in a positive way. So the sages used kusha grass to begin with. Even the Ayurvedic physicians will tell you are suffering from stress, high blood pressure, go into the green area. There is a lot of wonderful grass and barefooted walk upon it. And this becomes a powerful remedy. How does it work? You ask the grass. So all these suggestions are there, but that's, you don't have to follow exactly precisely. The basic point is have a nice seat that makes you comfortable, and thus establish a firm seat for the practice of meditation. Having seated himself in a meditative pose, having brought the mind to a state of one-pointedness, he should attain mastery over the senses and the mind, and practice yoga for the purification of the soul. All these preparations have been made, and then what should you do? Bring your mind to one-pointedness. There are three stages of this practice: dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. Dharana, focusing the mind on one point. One point refers to the object of meditation. Focusing means gathering the mind. Mind has so many distractions. It's many pointed. But instead of being many pointed, bringing to one point, you can elaborate this understanding. When you sit for a meditation, your mind is moving in a circle. The circle is very wide. You are led by your fantasies of the mind. Remember one thing, that one thing relates you to remember another thing. They call it from pumpkin to parliament. Instead, pumpkin to parliament, reduce it from pumpkin to coconut. Reduce the circle, let it wander, but the circle becomes closer and closer. That's the art of concentration. And when you have brought it to the closest, you become one-pointed, allegorically. Then maintain that one-pointedness. Now do nothing. Enjoy it. You have been a bee and trying to figure out where is the taste, and you were jumping all around a flower. But now you come to relax yourself and realize the nectar was everywhere. We were simply jumping and we were unable to take it. So you sit down with this revelation and start sucking the nectar. That's called meditation. Now when you are relaxed and you are sucking the nectar, inner joy, the moment your mind becomes concentrated and enters in meditation, a unique type of a peace begins to develop within you. Your mind has become like a bee and it has started sucking the nectar. Now comes the third stage. Bee becomes drunk. The mind has enjoyed all types of happiness. But this type of happiness is so unique that it just becomes in ecstasy, the superconscious state. Your normal function of the mind is completely gone. A superconscious state has developed. But again, that development has many degrees. You may have just a little glimpse. In each time of practice, you may go through all these stages: concentration, focusing, meditation, when the bee has started tasting it, and getting into a samadhi becomes a deep experience. And when all this goes on, impressions gather in your unconscious. Because your unconscious has recorded, it has grooves, using old style simile. It's like grooves in old type of recording. And accordingly, the music goes on according to the nature of grooves. When you, all the time, you are creating grooves in your unconscious. But when you begin to practice meditation, a totally different type of grooves arise. The old music begins to move away. And extremely melodious melody, the same mind allows to have that melody manifest. And that gives you a unique type of experience and begins to change your life. Countless people live in the world without having the taste of meditation. In the name of meditation, so many things are said, so many things are promised. So when you practice meditation, you are thinking of the things that are promised by your meditation. The bee of mind doesn't get the time to get into ecstasy. Practice yoga for the purification of the soul. You attain mastery over the senses and the mind. As a result of this practice, senses relate to your all practical dealings with the world, pursuit of pleasure. Mind and senses are involved in enjoying pleasures of the world in different levels. But by practicing meditation, you are accustoming your chitta, your total mind, accustoming it to a profounder type of taste. And as it continues, your chitta becomes purified. Chitta Shuddhi is a term. Chitta Shuddhi is same as purity of heart. At your heart level, generally, the heart level of a person has a cloud in it, cloud of illusion. It's like you look up to the sky, there is cloud. You don't see beyond. Neither do you see the blue sky nor the sun. But by practice of meditation, that cloud clears. The clearing of the gross impurities, malas, and reducing the vikshepa, distractions. Malas I have explained again many times: kama, krodha, lobha, moha, desire, anger, greed, delusion, jealousy, and all those are malas, malos. And based on these malas have their backing of subconscious, subtle desires called vasanas. The moment you begin to practice meditation, something begins to influence your mind and senses. Malas begin to move away. And then senses become like tame. Mind becomes still. And a window begins to open in your heart. Chitta Shuddhi, purity of heart has developed. Now you are more keen to see what's happening when the window opens. Don't take it literally. I'm giving you allegorical description. Your heart opens to experiencing profounder love that you have never experienced before. You are experiencing love, but that love is extremely limited, just like you are experiencing reflected suns and diffused light of the sun. But all this is little compared to the sun. You are always experiencing divine love in all forms of your love. But all those experiences are refracted, distorted, limited. The source behind it is the Atma, the Self, God within you. Therefore, your meditation is now meant to bring about purity of heart. 13 and 14th verses. Samam kaya shiro grivam dharayannachalam sthira samprekshya nasikagram swam dishashchana valokayan prashantatma vigat vidhi brahmachari vrate sthita manah sanjamya machitto yukta 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐸. Holding the body steady, keeping the middle part of the body, neck and head together in a straight line. He should focus his gaze at the tip of the nose without looking around, keeping the mind undistracted. This is clear and meant literal. That's how you are keeping your body in a healthy state. Now come to another level. While body is in this position, your mind should have a profounder, peaceful flow, peaceful and fearless. Prashantatma. Therefore, try to understand, if you are living your daily life with too much abrupt behavior and uncontrolled temper, you cannot have that experience of being peaceful. A peaceful state of mind will allow you to go into a profounder level. Peaceful, and another point, fearless. I will give you a very simple allegorical description. A bird on a tree, on a very high branch, peaceful and fearless, because the bird is on its own wings, not seated on the tree. Tree is a support, joyous. But think of another creature at the root of the tree. Think of any creature, a cat, a dog, any creature that at the root of the tree is constantly looking around, distracted. What I'm leading you to understand that if you are developing the quality of being peaceful and fearless in your daily life, you need to work upon it. Therefore, recite more peace chants. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Do everything possible, satsanga, prayer, to bring to your mind an understanding that God has given you all the resources needed for your highest attainment. He has been extremely generous, and you have everything possible. Therefore, develop a set of peaceful disposition. Second point, you are not the body. Your soul is eternal, immortal. Your relation with God is eternal. Deep down, you have a protector, so powerful that the entire universe can be blown away by his sniff of his nose. If you can assimilate these points in your daily life, and you may not have a high degree of peace, but to the extent you bring that sense of being peaceful, fearless, now your mind has spurti, kind of joyous disposition to pursue meditation. Meditation now becomes a tremendous adventure, just like a diver goes into the ocean, and the idea that there is possibility of going into deeper part of the ocean, there are lots of pearls are there, etc. That idea becomes fascinating. Established in the vow of brahmacharya, another profound word is always used and it's translated in different levels. Ordinary translation is sex restraint. But that is not the real definition. Real definition is to understand your soul is neither male nor female. And deepest of your happiness is not sex pleasure. Deepest of your happiness is totally different. Therefore, don't allow your life to be caught by the snares of that type of illusion. Allow your life to flow with the recognition that God is in everyone. Even when married couples love each other, the goal should be how to awaken spiritual insight in each other, not to always awaken the idea of pleasure. If that attitude has developed, brahmacharya is growing. And there is no power greater. Your personality feels greater strength only because of being male or female. It's very shallow. Because the reality is you have been many times males, many times females, through many embodiments. And no one is just 100% male, 10% female. And your purpose is not to stay in that level, but to realize soul stripped of body. Body has nothing to do with it. And it relates to God. That insight and that movement of the soul towards God and recognizing the soul in each, that's the field of brahmacharya. And it is the source of all divine qualities. But if brahmacharya is not there, all your virtuous qualities are shallow. With his mind subdued, his heart directed towards me, the mind begins to enjoy serenity. Yoga-chitta vritti nirodha. Consider the mind as a lake. General mind is full of waves, full of ripples. So whenever you turn to your mind, you are not able to see the sky reflected in it. All that you are able to see is some distractions. Distractions, things that shine, but they are running away constantly. But when the waves calm down, you are seeing the entire sky having entered into that lake. And lake itself is transcended. Such expansion that mind is blown away. The lake is blown away. That's what's implied. His mind subdued and his heart directed towards me with wholehearted devotion to me. Two states are described: heart directed towards me. In general masses, every individual has function of a heart, speaking in a different way. Heart is always directed to so many things. You love so many things. But not a single thing or not a single person whom you love, you consider the greatest, the highest, the best support. Your real support is somewhere else. But when you discover, when you develop love of God, then God is the highest. In the previous type of love, what happens? You end up with attachment. People, objects, all that you loved, you begin to cling to them. And suddenly your need is to get a support of a different type. Then you have a big conflict. In other words, attachments restrict your expansion. Just like a bird to fly, and there are strings attached to the legs of the bird. The bird can't fly. The soul loves people in order to fly. But due to ignorance, all that happens, it gets us stuck. What I'm leading you to understand, that creation of God, which has allowed you to love so many things, given a tremendous field of warming your heart. But you should not fall into bluey type of attachment. A real test of love is it allows you to fly. Not fly from one object to another, fly to higher dimension. A discovery that you are loving God in each other. So in whatever relation, you are mother and a child, you are loving God in that child. And allowing the child to grow up to love God within you. And as you do, the state of child is not your priority. Child has to grow. And it doesn't affect you. But when you are attached, you want the child to stay a child. People do not do it literally, but there is some aspect is there. You don't want the child to be completely gone away from you and be on their own. But with higher understanding, you have been loving God. And God gave you an opportunity to be loved. And that relates to all relations, loving relations. But when you turn to God, there is a wholehearted devotion. God is loved. All sentiment of love is fulfilled in Him. But He is also the highest. Put it another way, God is a supreme lover and supreme beloved, both at the same time. Let Him sit intent on realizing me with this type of mental attitude and the preparation of the heart. You enter deeper and deeper into meditation. This form of meditation will end up in giving you revelation of who am I? I am that am I. Just like a churning with the milk, butter emerges and begins to float. Meditation practice allows your mind to be churned in a mystic way. A butter of divine awareness emerges out of it. And it simply floats, untouched, uncontaminated. And with this I will conclude. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.